you need someone to talk to and you don't know what to do, call us 214-4400 when you're feeling all alone and they turn their back on you. Call us 214-4400. Call us 214-4400. Call us 214-4400. Call us.
Welcome to the Kind Counseling Podcast. It's your girl, Danya Roberts. And of course, with me today is the host of hosts, Cammie Roberts, also known as Mr. Roberts, Dr. Cammie, Dr. Roberts, or just plain old Cammie. And we also have with us today our other co-host, Al Sue, aka Big Al, joining us all the way from VA. Once again, we are here to give insights, share information, and bring light to various topics that affects our communities at large. Kind Counseling is a mental health practice that gives hope to the hopeless through mental health empowerment and spiritual insight. As always, we have a great show for you today with a very special guest by the name of Sean Watt. Let's give a big round of applause for Sean. Woo!
Yeah, all right.
Welcome, Sean. Welcome, Sean. And before we get into it, let me tell the people a little bit about you. Sean is a Jamaican-born, New York City-bred U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran. Wow, that sounds serious. He is a believer and follower of God and the world president of the Ambassadors for Jesus Christ International Motorcycle Ministry. His path in life has made him relevant to people who have felt unworthy of anything good happening for them. His passion is to show people who God truly is and not from what they've been accustomed to seeing him represented as by people who claim him, but only in name. That's deep. He's also about an individual relationship with God, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. So let's get right into it. Welcome again, Sean. We're so happy to have you with us today, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. I know you got some good stuff for us today.
The intro was tough, yo.
You like that, huh?
Hey, here's your intro, man.
Hire me.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
So you rather Sean or you rather Bronx? I know
Bronx is good. Bronx is good.
Bronx is
for, like Brooklyn dudes, you know, I know y'all love saying.
I know, man. You don't mess with the Bronx, man.
Don't nobody go to the Bronx. Anyways.
This is true. This is really true.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Bronx, and how you even got into a motorcycle ministry, or what even is a motorcycle ministry?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little insight into that?
All right, a motorcycle ministry is well, most people know motorcycle clubs. Most motorcycle clubs have a bad reputation for being like troublemakers. And so what we are is kind of like missionaries. And we go into that motorcycle community, and we're a ministry, meaning that we go with purpose. And our whole purpose is to lift up the name of God and to just show people love and show people that, you know, no matter what you're into, you know, God's love can still reach you. So, you know, we do things. We have a passion for motorcycles, and we have a passion for brotherhood. And so we go into places that most church folks won't.
So you're like those guys that are on the highway, they're riding like 50 deep. Are you is that what like a motorcycle ministry is? Because I've seen them on the highway.
Well, yes. Yeah, we do everything that motorcycle clubs do, because we have to. You can't go into that community if you don't understand it. And first you gotta have a bike. You know,
that's first thing.
You know, so really? You gotta know how to ride it. And that's the thing that unites us. Everybody loves motorcycles, you know, who are part of that. So yeah, we ride tough, we ride tight. You know, I ride aggressive, you know, sometimes, depending on who I'm riding with. But, you know, I can ride.
Okay.
So,
So I,
oh, go ahead, Nadia.
so how did you get it? How did you get into um a motorcycle ministry? Like, well, I mean, I guess you just kind of explained it a little bit, but what led you to go into that? Like, how did you start riding? Is that something you've always done, or is it something that you picked up?
No, I had when I was in New York, I had some people who used to ride with Rough Riders out in
Oh, okay.
New York, and so like I always liked bikes, but I never really wanted to get on one because I lost a couple of people to bikes, and so it's not like I was scared of it, but I just didn't really have the passion. I just like looking at them. When I moved down to Virginia, I had a pastor named Pastor Green. He kind of took to me and, you know, kind of mentored me. So I owe a lot of who I am to him. But he's from Houston. And so I went out to Houston one year and met up with the founder of our motorcycle ministry, Pastor Hollywood Joe. And he just loved what they were doing, you know, going into the motorcycle community, you know, to share the love of God. And so when he came back to Virginia, you know, they went through the proper channels and, you know, we started a branch here. And I was like, yo, might as well, you know, do something that I like doing. And he taught me how to ride a motorcycle back in '03. And the way he taught me was, he said, don't drive my bike. So, so that's how I learned right in the church parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all have women in this club, or is it just for guys?
No, we have women. We have women also.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
So question for you. I know we said you're from New York. How did you actually end up in Virginia?
Well, when after high school, I went to the Marine Corps, and then that's where I met. I call him my brother now. You know, he's my best friend, and he lived in Virginia. And so when I went back to New York after I got out, I was still doing the same thing that I'd done before the Marines, you know, and I just wanted to change. You know, I was still wilding and everything, and I didn't want to do that no more. And, you know, I was ready to start a family, and, you know, me and my girl, we just decided to up and leave, and we came down to Virginia. And so I've been here ever since.
Wow.
So I got a question, man. How do you go from Rough Riders to motorcycle ministry? That seems like a big jump. Tell us a little bit about that.
Um, well, um, what had me change was looking at 25 years in prison. And you know,
Okay.
that kind of you know, God had to do what he had to do to get my attention because I wasn't listening no other way. And so yeah, so that's when I got locked up, that's what changed, and I didn't want to go back to that life anymore. So, you know, I still like the bikes. Really didn't have a passion for riding for real until, you know, Pastor Green wanted to ride it. He had like 5 bikes. And so it was nothing for him to just let me hold one. And so, you know, once I started riding, he let me hold one. And then, you know, the more I got into the culture is the more I wanted to make change and, you know, bring change. I can't make change. I could bring change and present people to the one who can change. And so, you know, I hope that answered your question. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of skipped over that 25 to life part there, man. I don't know if you mind sharing. Is that all right? You can
Oh
tell
yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah. Back in 2000, you know, you shoot one person and they want to get mad at you. You know what I'm saying? But no, no, I got locked up back in 2000 shooting somebody. I was really trying to take them out of here. I had a lot of anger in me. I was a hothead. I didn't think things through. I was a reactor. The way you came at me was the way, you know, I brought it back to you. So I didn't really think before I made any moves. And that's the way I always been. Um, so I was locked up. I was looking at 25 years. In Virginia, just for having a gun is 5 years off top. And so they had me, my charges was use of a firearm, and commission of a felony. I had a maiming charge. I had I forgot what other charges, but all of them, you know, equaled up to 25 years.
What's a maiming charge?
Like when you disfigure somebody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now was this after you came out the Marine Corps?
Yeah, it was. I got out of the Marines in '96, and so down to Virginia in 2000.
Do you think any of the experiences of the Marines maybe kind of helped to fuel some of that anger that you may have carried?
It might have. It just added to who I already was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a special breed to be a Marine.
What breed is that? Do tell.
It's just a different type of mindset that you have to have, you know. Yeah, it's just
as opposed to the other branches.
Yeah, I mean, we're the best.
Okay. Okay.
You're a guest, so I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Oh man,
Alan thinks differently, right? Big Al.
Well, the Marines are the guys they call in first, or is it the Army? The Marines or the Army?
Now we secure everything. The Army comes in, handle things, and to leave. We secure it so they could leave. So they could get out and bring their nice, pretty tanks and stuff and just leave.
But the Marines show up after the Navy has already blown everything up, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
We come and stab the people, make sure they really dead.
Oh Lord, Battle of the Branches.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay. So Bronx, like what kind of like upbringing you had, like just in terms of that led to like that kind of lifestyle? Like, was there anything like in your like family growing up that kind of you think might have contributed to that, or that was just like people you were hanging out with?
Well, I grew up with just my mom's and my grandmother and my sister. My dad left my mom's when I was 1 back in Jamaica, and so we moved to New York when I was 6. And so I didn't really have a father. Didn't really have a father figure growing up. Like a lot of my friends didn't have fathers, in the house. Right. I had one good friend, Maine. He had both parents, and his dad was cool. But like I grew up to like be envious of people with like both parents. I remember one year my mom's had, because we used to go back to Jamaica every year for like 2 weeks in the summer, and so. Like one year, we were supposed to go down there. My mom sent word to my dad to let him know that I wanted to meet him. I think I was in elementary school. And so I was always curious about that side of my family. And so like Jamaica's a big island, but it's a small island too. Everybody knows everybody who knows somebody, you know what I'm saying? And so we went down there and we went to where he worked and we stayed there for a couple of hours. He never showed up. And so that was kind of, crushing. I remember I told my mom, and I was like, when I meet him, I'm going to spit in his face, and we're going to go for what we know. And I told her, I promise you, I'm not going to lose. And I was in elementary school,
Wow.
And so, I just kept that hatred, because I went through a lot of stuff that I think that I never could have or I never should have went through if I had a dad to protect me. You know what I'm saying? Like my lot, my grandmother worked a lot, so a lot of stuff, was out on the block, you know what I mean? And so a lot of stuff that I learned from the dudes on the block, and they learned from their trauma base. And so, I learned the trauma base and, it just, kept multiplying, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Did you join the Marine Corps to try to get out of that type of environment? I know for me, joining the Navy was to try to get out of that environment. Was that kind of the same for you, joining the Marine Corps?
Sort of, kind of. I just didn't have no plans. I wasn't going to college because I didn't think I could make it. I barely made it through high school. And so I had no plans. And so like the Marines, it was just, and then I love the commercials that they had. They had like the best commercials back in the 90s.
Wow, Few Good Men, right?
Like, yeah. Right. So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna fly jets. I needed to go to college to fly jets. You know what I'm saying? But I was terrified of college. Yeah, so I just I didn't want to end up on the block. You know, I was tired of that life, you know. I mean, I wasn't the worst kid out there, but you know, I wasn't the best neither, you know.
Okay.
So how was your experience in the Marines? Was it what you expected, or was it different from what you expected in any way?
I went in there with no expectation.
Mm.
Remember, like when you first go there, like the first week, they're kind of indoctrinating you into like marching and putting on your uniform and everything. So it's kind of laid back. So I'm like, yo, this is good, you know. But like after that first week, when you meet your drill instructors, oh my gosh,
Mm.
my mom's and I was like, y'all think I made a mistake?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like a culture shock, you know, like because they got to break you of you and build
Mm.
to how they want you to be. And so
Yeah.
in part, you know, having you know, New York, you got to be tough. You know what I'm saying? You can't break, you know. And so that breaking wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. But like now that I look back, you know, I'm grateful for it. But when I was going through, there was some days I was just like, yo.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious. So you're in the Marines, right? And then you said you went to jail after you got out of the
Yeah,
Marines, right?
yeah,
So because I always hear things about the armed forces, like, they straighten you out, and a lot of single moms will, co-sign their boys going to the
Right.
armed forces because they feel like it's going to give them structure, it's going to give them discipline. So can you kind of walk us through? I guess what I'm asking is how did you go from the Marines to jail? Like where was the disconnect, or where was the break? I guess is what I'm curious about.
well, like the Marines, it does give you structure, but like you gotta think, what are they training us to do? You know,
Mm. Good
train
point.
us,
Mm,
you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And you know, when I was getting out, it's like they teach you how to, you know, survive in combat, but they don't really teach you how to adjust when you get back to the civilian world. You know,
mm,
like I'm out here and you know, my mentality, um, like what I had on the block when I was coming up, it never went nowhere. And so, you know, I still had the hatred for my dad. I still had the hot temper. I still had all of that. And so, you know, yeah, it gave me structure. Um, Taught me brotherhood, taught me to stay alive, you know. It taught me, you know, how to survive in that environment. But, you know, if my mentality didn't change.
mm.
When I came back out on the block, I still had that same street mentality.
Oh wow. So it's not like Antoine Fisher where they send you to where they
That's
send
just
you
a
to therapy.
They don't have feel good reality shows.
Yeah.
Reality, you know,
They
it's not
got
like
that
that.
now. They got it now. Now they
Well,
send it.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So that
because
never
they
played
see
out.
how it was, you know.
Mhm.
Well,
So
actually,
so
yeah.
your anger, I'm sorry, Kerry, your anger never played out while you were in the Marines?
It did.
Mhm.
Okay. And how did they deal with that?
Um, that's what they train you for.
To be angry?
Yeah, you and to keep it under control.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you
But
were able to control it while you were in the Marines then.
Yeah, because I mean, you meet people from all over the country that have similar backgrounds.
mm,
Mm,
So, like, we found strength in each other, you know,
mm,
and we drunk a lot. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? We drunk away all of that. You know, we stayed drunk. You know,
Oh,
mm,
okay.
was in the
Okay.
field, you know, training or you know going overseas. But I mean, alcohol was the coping mechanism. You know,
Mm,
full of girls.
mm.
okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so I had I had a client that he said he did like similar to what you said, he did 4 years of training, but he actually never went to combat. Like he never went and had a war to fight. And he said when he came back, he was just so angry because he felt like he took 4 years of his life to prepare for something, never got a chance to use it. I mean, he had other issues as well too, but then he came back and then to fit into civilian life, he really was afraid that he was gonna hurt somebody. right? I mean, is that like a common story, or is that you think that's just like an isolated kind of situation?
I can see what he's saying. Um, with me, like when I was in Somalia, like we train for this stuff, but it's still not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
you're hearing bullets coming at you and you don't really know where they're coming from, but you got to run towards them. You know what I'm saying? It's um, like we ready for, it to be our last time. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
that, but um, I'll be honest. I wish I didn't go. You know,
Mm.
because I wrote my own will at 19. You know what I'm saying? It's not normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think, with like different people, the training affects you differently, you know?
You're listening to the Kind Counseling Podcast. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now back to the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find it easier to do the motorcycle ministry then because of all of your prior combat experience, military experience, facing incarceration, all of that? Do you feel it's easier for you to get into the motorcycle community or be able to reach more people because of those experiences?
I think so. Because not talking about any club or anything out there, but like a lot of people, they trying to live what I already lived, you know.
Mm.
So it's like I have nothing to prove, you know. But I feel more comfortable with people with a background, with people who've been through or going through or trying to do what I already did, like been there, done that, you know what I'm saying? So there's nothing that phases me or so like I'm comfortable. And it probably is because what I've been through. So yeah, I feel so.
So Bronx, tell us how you came to be a believer.
Um, this part gonna be kind of long.
That's okay. Take your time.
All right. So I had got locked up, looking at all that time. And I remember they told me, they was like, yo, you gonna, the charges that I had. I remember every time I went to court, like people that I thought was cool was coming into court, like, yeah, he the dude that did it. And I'm like, yo, I was like, okay, so all right, boom. When I get out,
Wow.
kill him. And then, like I was just gonna go underground. And so, my mentality never changed. And so, I kept getting denied bond. And I'm like, dang. So, calling my mom's is like, she praying. She got the church she was going to back in the Bronx, praying for me. I knew about God all my life. Well, not all my life, but from the part I remember, I knew about God. But I didn't really, like, how you can know something about somebody, but you don't really know them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew God, but I didn't know him. And so she just suggested me start reading my Bible, and I was reading my Bible, just like, la la la. And then I remember there's a pastor named Courtney Macbeth, and he was doing a series on men and like not allowing your circumstances to, make you how you are, but to rise up and be true men. And that got my attention. And I remember I went to I had asked God one night in my sleep, well, not my sleep, but like right before I went to bed. I was like, I'm reading all of this stuff about you. I'm hearing all this stuff about you, but I don't know you. I was like, tell me who you are. And so, I went to bed like that. And it's crazy because like I heard my name called that night, and I looked and I thought it was my cell partner, but he was knocked out. And so my mom's the next day, and I told her, she crying, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. She's like, next time you hear it, say, here I am. You know what I'm saying? She all
Samuel.
yeah, And so I'm like,
experience.
yeah, so I'm like, all right, so I'm reading the Bible. And what's so crazy, let me back up a little bit, right? My cell partner, like everybody in the jail knew who I was. Cause I remember when I first went in, my cell partner, he was like, yo, you to do that shot such and such? I'm like, nah, yo, it ain't me. He's like, yeah, it is. The CO's already told him that it was me, you know, so everybody knew to do that shot. And I'm from out of town, everybody know, but my cell partner, like his whole family career was criminals. So dad, his granddad, uncles, brothers, all of them been in and out of the penitentiary. So it's like he was well respected. And so like me and him just hit it off. And so, you know, I think, you know, that was strategic of God to put me with somebody that nobody was gonna mess with. And nobody's gonna mess with anybody that he was cool with. So, you know, it was cool. Like short dude, but he was stocky, had stab wounds and everything. And we playing spades, two-hand spades. And you know, like I throw the king, he throw the 8. He like, that's my book. I'm like, all right, man. You know,
take it.
like you got it. So, you know, even with that was strategic. So like I had, best friend had got me a lawyer, but I didn't like the way he was representing me, man. He just seemed like a novice, you know. So I told my sister, and my sister, she got in touch with my ex-wife, her sister, you know, was like legal, and my sister had some connections too. So they got this dude to represent me named Ben Gardner, and he owned his own law firm. And so he came to visit me, you know, I fired the other lawyer. And so he came to visit me. He's like, don't worry about nothing, I got this. And so I'm like, I bet. So, you know, I'm figuring out what I'm gonna say on the stand and everything, you know, I'm gonna cry, you know what I'm saying? I got the sob story, you know what I mean?
I said I'm gonna cry.
For real. And so, and so I'm in, you know, I'm reading the Bible. And yo, it was like real crazy because like what I was reading wasn't like stories no more. It was like I was there. And it was like everything was like real to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm telling my mom, she crying, oh, thank you, Jesus, thank you. You know? So I remember there was this preacher that used to come every Sunday. And I thought he was gay. And I thought he was because, you know, he used to pull his pants up under his like chest. And, you know, his nuts be all squeezed up and everything. So, you know, I thought he was like, you know, trying to get people attention in there. So, you know, I ain't never really listened to him when he came through. So he came through one Sunday and he was like, can you come here? It's like, nah, yo, I'm good. And so he was like, nah, for real, come here. And I was like, so I went to the bars and he was telling me that, you know, he's been going there for a while and he didn't want to have a routine message. And he said, God showed him my face. I stepped back, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, he's like, you know, he's like, God told me to tell you that you already been judged. And I was like, nah. I went, they denied me bond. He's like, nah. He's like, you're not hearing me. He said, God told me to tell you that you already been judged. And so,
Wow.
Oh, excuse, I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all good.
It's okay.
And so, you know, I called my mom's, and you know, she all emotional and stuff, and she was like, just keep reading the Bible. I was reading the Bible, you know, and it was crazy. Like the last time I went to court. Now during this time, you know, my ex-wife, you know, she was my girl back then. She had met Pastor Green. And you know, it's so crazy because he used to go to Bishop Macbeth Church. You know, the guy I told you that was, you know, challenging men that I was watching on TV.
Okay.
His church, but you know, God called him to pastor another church. And she's like, yo, you got to go to this church with me. I'm like, nah, we going to Calvary Revival. I got to meet this man. You know what I'm saying? He changed my life. And I remember, you know, I asked God, I was like, God, I just need you to change me. I was like, I'm tired of going the way I'm going. And so the last time I went to court, let me back up a little bit. So the DA, she was a sister, right? And so they was like, yo, the DA taking your case. And she was notorious for locking up brothers, you know, her thing. And so they was like, yo, she not even making the assistants do it. She's doing it herself. It's like, yo, man, it ain't looking good for you. But I was worried, you know what I'm saying? And so the last time we went to court, you know, like, you know, I tell you, you know, I had my sob story and everything, you know, I was ready. Yo, lawyer put me on the stand, you know, all they got to say is action. And, you know, I got it. So, like, you know, everybody was on the stand, you know, saying, yeah, that's him, that's him. And then when it got time for the DA to say something, she says, Your Honor, I got his pre-sentence report. Now I've been getting arrested and in trouble since junior high school. And a lot of stuff was supposed to be sealed, but it wasn't. Like they brought all of that stuff up.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yep.
yeah, and stuff like when I was in the Marines overseas, I had gotten in trouble. That had came up, and so she had all of that, and she was like, "Your Honor, I'm looking at his pre-sentence report," and she was like, "I can't see nothing wrong with him." And the moment she said that, like I remember what that pastor told me. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, "Whoa!" But it was because like my lawyer didn't let me take the stand. And I'm like, yo, I had it all laid out. I was going to win this case for us. You know what I'm saying? I was going to. And so I was like, even like.
That's why he didn't let you take the stand.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like, God. Even like, it was so crazy because I was like a part of me still hadn't changed. I was like, yo, they going to give me this time. I'm punching the dude in his face. You know what I'm saying? I'm still thinking like that because he let me go to prison. He ain't put me on the stand. And so, she said what she said. Now it's time for the judge, because I had a judge trial. I had a bench trial, not a jury trial. And so the judge, he was like, Mr. Watt, he was like, I'm a Marine also. And he was like, I don't know doing this, but I'm going to throw out the gun charge. And so from that, 5 years, removed. And so since he threw out the gun charge, I couldn't be charged with the use of a firearm and commission of a felony. And so that got, thrown out. And so the Maimon charge and the other charge, he threw them out too. But he gave me an unlawful wounding charge, which is like, it's another felony, but it's like a real low felony. And so he gave me time served. And then he told me that, if I did anything again, he was going to put all the charges back on me, right? And so I looked at my lawyer and I'm like, yo, what happened? He was like, yo, you're a free man.
Wow.
Real. And so, we walked out, and what's crazy is like he charged, I think it was like $10,000 to take my case. And it was a $1,500 retainer. I pulled him to the side and I was like, look, I'm gonna get a job, and because we owed him like $8,500 left. So I was like, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna make payments to you and everything. He told me, don't even worry about it.
Wow.
Wow.
All that stuff came back, man. And I was like, yo, God, I asked and you did it. That's why I follow him the way I do.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story. And while you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking to myself that, at one point you said that you didn't want to keep going the way you were going, so you asked God to change you. And he really has done that, because I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm like, I can't even believe, like, you don't even look like you used to do all that stuff. You don't even sound like you used to do all that stuff. So the transformation is apparent. So, it's just an amazing testimony, Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank God for me being able to have it.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, when you say like the motorcycle community, right? For like people that don't know, right? What does that usually like include? Like, what does that encompass? Like the kind of people that, when you say you got to know, you got to know that environment, so to speak. What kind of people are we talking about?
Well, people that, they just love riding motorcycles, and unfortunately, they got a bad rap from, people who went before, because, the motorcycle clubs, they started, after the war. People loved the brotherhood, but they didn't find it nowhere else. The brotherhood of serving in the military. Like, it's a weird kind of brotherhood that, the person beside you give your life for. And so, they came back, they couldn't find it. Okay. And so they love motorcycles and they love the brotherhood. So they started banding together. And, a lot of the people that went on before us, they had a reputation of, going into a town getting drunk, tearing it up, and moving on to the next town. So, that reputation kind of followed motorcycle clubs throughout the years.
Okay.
But beyond all of the thing that people hear about motorcycle clubs, like they family men that just love motorcycles and brotherhood. It's so easy to judge them just by looking at the tats and the beards and stuff. But if you have a conversation with them, they just regular people, So like, I think a lot of what people think about motorcycle clubs is from like back in the 40s and, when most of the clubs had started, and it just carried on throughout the years. And so people they just got this stigma about motorcycle clubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what makes your club different though? If you could tell us a little bit about it, like what makes it different?
Well, give you the history of us. Our founder, he used to ride with a known outlaw club out in Texas. I can say the name right, Al?
Yeah, I think you said it before, so I'm sure.
Okay, all right, yeah. He used to ride with the Banditos Motorcycle Club, and there are if you know motorcycle clubs, you know them, and so he never talked about those years, but he had a wreck. He did work for the club, time for the club, and everything. Ended up having a wreck, and when he had the wreck, he saw a vision of the patch, and he ended up getting saved. I don't know when exactly he got saved, but he was trying to live both lives, outlaw life, but still be saved. And so he couldn't straddle the fence. And so he went to them and told them that he got saved. And, God is calling him to start a club, a motorcycle ministry. And our purpose from our founder is to go back to those people who he used to ride with and minister to them the love of God. And so the same way God changed his life, he could change their lives too. And so we just carry that on and we just continue his legacy.
So are people like receptive when you roll through, or is it kind of looking at you sideways?
It depends. Like, a lot of clubs, they don't mess with you unless they know you. So the more you come around is the more comfortable they are with you. And the more comfortable they are with you, that's when they'll start to talk to you. And, we don't go out there and be like, oh, you must be born again. The wages of sin is death. You're going to hell, hell, hell. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. Like I always believe if you get with somebody, no matter what their views of anything is, and you build on what unites us. And so the one thing that unites us is brotherhood and motorcycles. You could talk about those all day, especially like if you see somebody with a nice bike, compliment him his bike. Yo, what'd you do? You know what I'm saying? And that's an end. And once they know you're just a regular person, because, a lot of people, they see church folks, and church folks act like they perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, you sinner, you going to hell. You know what I'm saying? But we don't do that. We go there. Yo, do what you do. You want to drink, you want to smoke weed, do whatever. Do what. Yo, that's you. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to condemn you. I'm just here to show you love. And so, when people know that you're genuine, then they'll open up to you and be more receptive to you. But like real talk, like people who've lived the life, they know when you phony. You know what I'm saying? And so like consistency, man, on being genuine and just being a solid person, and they're receptive of us then.
Yeah. So I have a question. So you say that your passion is to show people who God truly is, not from what they've been accustomed to seeing him represented as by people who claim him, but only in name. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I came up in a church in Harlem, right? And some of the church folks was the meanest people ever. And I'm like, yo, how can you say you love God and God is love, and you know what I'm saying? But damn people, you talking down to people. And people, when Jesus was walking the earth, you know, he went to people that didn't look like him, that didn't, you know what I'm saying, that they wasn't in church, you know what I'm saying, that they just regular people, they was caught up in all sorts of stuff. You know, you remember that lady that got that she got caught with that man, that married man, and they was gonna stone her. You know what I'm saying? Jesus ain't even condemn her. He's right on the ground. And then, you know, he's like, you know, the one without sin cast the first stone. You know what I'm saying? All of them got convicted and they walked away. And he was accusers. She's like, there's none. He's like, I ain't gonna accuse you neither. You know what I'm saying? So like, people represent God in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? Like every time you see something on the church with a preacher, they hoeing. You know what I'm saying? Or they taking people money. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that ain't God. You know what I'm saying? That's not God. Fortunately, the ones that don't represent him have the platform. And you know what I'm saying? That's people judge God by the people who don't represent him right. You know, and like, okay, yo, Mace was a pastor. You know what I'm saying?
Was now? He was? He stopped?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? People's following him, you know, and like I think it's yo, you're doing people a disservice because people are hungry, people are searching. And a lot of people, like, they hear about God, but if you represent them wrong, you damaging people.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, yo.
And giving people a false. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not perfect. Trust, I'm not perfect. I got my butt. I'm trying to show people that, yeah, you don't have to be perfect. God loves you the way you are. But the real God, you know what I'm saying? Not the ones who trying to manipulate you, not the ones who trying to, you know, work on your emotions so they could get what they want from you. You know what I'm saying? God. So I'm showing people, yo, we could be out here and I could show you love with no hidden motives, with no hidden agendas. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get in a woman's pants. I'm not trying to get in no pockets. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to represent God right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I say, you know, the ones who are on the forefront, and not everybody, but you know, like a lot of people on the forefront, man. And I tell people, like, if some people are supposed to show me to God, I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
For the way that they live in their life and they representing, you know what I'm saying? So I'm here to change the narrative.
Yeah.
Show people a different way, man, because like if he could change me, I wasn't the worst dude, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't an angel.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For sure.
Do you find it difficult at times believing what you believe to attend, you know, like different motorcycle visuals and things of that nature? Does that become hard at times?
Like, how you mean?
Like just going to events where, you know, like bikers have passed away or, you know, hurt, or just situations of those natures. Does that bother you when you have to go to those type of events? Or how does it bother you? Being somebody of faith.
You said being somebody in somebody else's faith?
Being somebody of faith.
No, I don't, because, you know, the people who passed, can't do nothing about them. You know, their end is already, but the ones who are living, you can still give them hope. You know what I'm saying? And while they have breath in their lungs, you know, you can still give them hope, and you can still, like, that's what we're here to do. You know, unfortunately, tragedy hits everybody, you know, different ways, different times. But we want to show people, like, no matter what place you find yourself in any sort of tragedy, you know, you can hold on to God. You know, I ain't got the answers, but I can point you to the one who does. And so it doesn't bother me. You know, sometimes I wish, like you never know how people's relationship is with God, but you know how they live.
Right.
And so, you know, sometimes, like, I just wish that could have had a moment where I could just share God with that person before they had passed.
I guess that's kind of what I was trying to touch base on. Just knowing, some of these guys' lifestyles, and then something happens, and then it's, to me, I feel like, man, I wish I could have spoke to them sooner. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I wonder if that ever bothers you sometimes, being in the motorcycle community.
I mean, sometimes like we don't know every club out here, and
Right.
like as long as we've been out here, there's still some clubs that aren't inviting to us, but we still have to keep trying to get out there and get to them. And I think just consistency will give us an open door. Like I always pray for open doors, and it's been happening more and more. And so like when God opens the door, we just have to be willing and ready to go in it and to just share Him. And a lot of times it ain't what we say, but it's how we live.
Mhm.
Because people are always watching us. So, I don't have to
Yeah.
go to somebody and tell them that, if people living wrong, they know they doing it. I ain't got to say nothing.
Mhm.
I could show them that, I could have fun and I could remember it because I'm not going to be drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been that, with the banging headache the next day, I don't have to have that no more. And so it's just, the more God opens doors, it's just the more opportunities we have to share who He is.
Mhm. You're like a modern day Paul.
Oh man, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
So what's your favorite motorcycle, man? Or what's the best motorcycle company?
Harley Davidson.
There you go, man. Thank you.
Harley
Oh,
Davidson.
so you ride a Harley?
Yes, I do. It used to belong to the founder of my club, of my ministry.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was an honor when his son gave me the opportunity to ride. Let me tell you a story about that real quick.
Sure.
I had a Busa. I had Generation 2 Suzuki Hayabusa. And so his son was gonna sell it because his son was he just wanted to get away from the motorcycle club avenue. A lot of stuff happened. So he was gonna sell it. So his aunt was like, "Why don't you sell it to Bronx?" And so he gave me a price. It was like 13.5. The bike was worth like 17.5 or 18, something like that. And so he dropped the price for me. So he's like, give me 9,000 and you come get it and make payments for the rest. So I was like, all right. So I put my Busa on Marketplace. Yo, that same day somebody called me for it. Because he said he had notifications like whenever a Generation 2 Busa came up, he would get it. So he called me, came to see it the next day with cash in hand, with a bank check in hand. So he got it. So I was like, I was 2,300 short. And so I got a club brother. He was like, yo, I'll give it to you. Like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he gave me 2,300. I sent it off flew to Houston, grabbed a bike, got on the highway and brought it back. And so
Wow.
like I paid that back, like in 3 months because I had something that was coming open for me. And so yeah, but that was just crazy the way it happened. So I was like, yo, I'm destined to have this bike.
Yeah, that's it.
I call that bike legacy because I'm honoring, his legacy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
good. So I guess besides the ministry, like you're involved in other things right now, or that's primarily what you do? Like that's attached to a church or something? Like
Well, I'm an elder in my church. I'm a youth teacher. But the elevation that I had within the ministry takes most of my time. And so, I'm grateful for my bishop. He gives me the leeway to flow because he understands that this is a ministry. And I'm just out here wilding and doing, willy-nilly stuff. So, yeah, so but this ministry is me. You see me, you see the ambassadors. And so I live this ministry like all the time.
How often do you all ride?
Often as we can.
What's that like?
There's really
Once
no
a week,
set time.
twice a week? Oh, okay.
Cause like I call a brother up and be like, yo, let's get some miles in, and we just go,
Okay.
go ride, get something to eat, just like the brotherhood and the fellowship is built. Like we don't have to have an occasion.
Okay.
It's
Oh, so it's
I
not
hang
like
with each
all
other.
of you riding together at the same time. How many people are in the
But
club?
well, locally we have 8, and we have 2 new prospects coming in, and
Okay.
hang around that we
Okay.
fellowshipping with him.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I could,
so there's no, I'm sorry. So there's no set time, no set day or time where you guys go out and ride together. It's just kind of impromptu.
Well, we have our meeting once a month.
Mhm.
So that's a designated time. And then, we do support other events throughout the month, throughout the week, where, we get together and ride. But that one
Okay.
meeting is when, we all show up and we all fellowship afterwards. And then
Okay.
events a year. Like today we just had one, and in August we have another one. And those 2 are mandatory.
Okay.
so I could just pull up with a scooter, like that's it. I mean, what you gotta do to join, man?
Well, most
That's
the old school people call scooters bikes. So well, they
what
call
I'm
bike
saying.
scooters. Let me say it like that.
Right.
But not one of them little ones.
Yeah, be a
we,
keep up.
we ride, yo. We ride.
So I mean, so how does somebody join like your ministry or the club? Like how does that happen?
Well, first, the first thing, you got to be believing in God and His Son Jesus. Member of a church, and show interest in the motorcycle community. We have different channels that we do with certain protocol that we have to do in the motorcycle community, and we do that. But like you have to hang around first, between 6 months and a year before we even prospect you. And prospect hang is another 6 months to a year. So from us first meeting you to you getting a full patch is not less than a year. Because you have to make sure that your heart is for this ministry.
Right.
Like I view this ministry like the Marine Corps, and I say if everybody could be an ambassador, we wouldn't be the ambassadors. Because we have set such a standard in the kingdom of God that we don't want to bring no disgrace to God's name. And so it's cool, like if you still caught up in stuff, hang around with us. But once you put this patch on, it's a standard that you have to meet. And so, just show interest. You gotta believe in God and His Son Jesus. And you have to be a member of a church. Those are the 2 that really, you gotta love motorcycles and you gotta love missionary work.
Wow, that's really good, man. I mean, I like what you're saying about, you hold a certain standard, because sometimes with the kingdom, like people say, oh, just come as you are, but you still got to hold a standard in terms of people have to show being committed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It can't just be, yeah.
No, I tell people, like, when you dealing with people who don't know God, if you're doing what they do, why should they change?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
I like
That's
that.
true. That's true. Well, I'm glad you shared about it because I definitely used to side-eye these motorcycle gangs when I saw them on the freeway, because some of them were just aggressive, riding in and out and almost causing accidents. So now I know there's something more. I mean, I assume that not all of them are Bible-believing gangs, but it's good to know that it's good to know that you all are out here
gang
riding for Jesus.
It's a club, man, in a gang.
Club. Sorry, not a gang. Club.
People always want to say gangs, but like people they put labels on what they don't understand. And so that's just an easy label to put on, but most of these people are family men. Saying, and at the core of everyone, I believe that they just want peace for their family, but never get to that core of people if we put these labels on them and judge them according to the labels.
Yeah, you're right. For sure. So thanks for schooling us today. I definitely learned something new.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
And aggressive riding is actually safer.
Is it?
Yeah, look at the Autobahn. Look at the Autobahn. They get busy over there.
So explain that to me.
Yeah, because I need to know what you mean by that.
You said aggressive driving or riding?
Riding. She said riding aggressively. It's actually safer for a biker because the scariest place for a biker to be is in traffic, surrounded by vehicles. Right? It's the scariest place for them to be. So they're trying to get out of traffic and get away from the cars as quickly as possible to a safer open area of the road. Because when you're riding and you're looking around at cars, there's people on phones, people putting on makeup, people eating, you know what I mean? They're not paying attention necessarily to that small motorcycle that might even be sitting in their blind spot. So you don't want to be sitting next to any vehicles or sitting in traffic. You want to get out of there as fast as possible. So sometimes when you see bikers doing that, it's not them trying to cause an accident or they're just riding crazy. It's them trying to get to a safer area of the road for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if people come over on a car, imagine a bike. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the doors to protect us.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get away.
Yeah. Wow.
It doesn't seem like that at all. It seems like they just be showing off.
That's the Brooklyn in you guys.
Maybe that's
the majority. That's the Brooklyn. The majority of bikers, are like that. You always got your 10%.
Yeah.
But the majority of bikers, we just want to be safe and make it back home alive. It's a passion we have. Nobody sets out to get in an accident and almost lose your life.
Right. Yeah.
Before it don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, listen, man. We thank you for coming by, man. Stopping in, man. We definitely learned a lot, and I thank you for being transparent, man. Because I think people need to hear like how bad something can be, and and God can still use it and turn it around and make something good of it. Right. So thank you for being transparent and just sharing your story and talking freely about how God changed your life, man. Because I think people really need to hear sometimes the sanitized version. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I appreciate y'all for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. All right, sir. So anything you want to say, if anybody wants to contact you, how would they contact you?
If they want to join your motorcycle club,
or if they want to, maybe they want to have you come speak or something like that. How would they contact you?
Well, I guess you could look me up on Facebook. SEAN, Peanut P-NUT Watt WATT.
Okay, so Sean Peanut Watt.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, sir. Listen, man. So may God be with you, man, and keep doing what you're doing, man. It's a real pleasure to hear what you're doing, man. It's important work that you're doing too. So we definitely we'll keep you in prayer, man, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for what you're doing. Mental health is important. Therapy. Yeah. So,
all right. Okay.
Thank y'all.
All right, sir. So you be safe.
All right.
All right, God bless you.
Okay, take care.
Stop down.
God bless.
All right.
If I ever took a loss, I learned a lesson. I won't ever think I'm better than the next man. I've been down before to come up, I ain't stressing. Baby, I'm too busy.